So as I import the 3D files, you will see them under the patient. So this is the patient, and this is the 3D file. And you will see your 3D files under the study list with the date of the input. So now you can have multiple 3D files uploaded, and you can manage it as a project file. So as you see on your left, you can see that we can delete study file, which means that we will delete the 3D files under the patient, which is now a study file, basically a project file. So you can delete, import, and export. So you can move the files around to different PC, or you can bring it home and work with it. So yes, now you can manage the files as a project file. And then we'll be moving on to the View tab. You can see that it's been activated since we have the 3D files. Click View tab. And the first thing that we'll have to do is reorientation. So it's fairly similar to the other softwares as well. So it's to fix the coordinates of the 3D file to auto-align. We have to click 3 points in this order. All these 3 points will define the molars, and it will calculate the midline based on the 3D file as well. So normally you get the midline here, and click reorientation. And now you can see that it's facing towards the midline. And we import the byte information directly from the 3D file. So it is important to scan correctly and import the files. You can alter the general model, like you can rotate it and do everything. And if you click MX or MD, you can do it separately by the mandible and maxilla, which isn't really necessary because we don't want to alter the coordinations of the file. And if you click OK, now you can see that model is facing to forward, and you can change the view with the side menu here. So now we need to create the base for 3D printing for the both maxilla and mandible, since this is hollow file. So we'll create the maxilla and mandible base. So we provide 2 methods. Let me show you the first one again, plane. So plane is fairly simple. You just need to move this plane up and down to cut everything below. So when we set the plane and click separate, all these area has been cutted. And if you click the base, we can choose the height of the base. And when we export the file, we'll be able to set it again. So you don't need to worry too much about the height at this stage. And click OK. So we have the base. And normally, so it is best to create the base if you're doing the hollow model from the mesh mixers. So for the mandible, let me show you the region method. So you have to hold down Control key and use your left mouse button to select the area of your choice. And if you click OK, come back to your starting point and click OK. And click separate. Click base to choose the height. I think this is okay. And click OK to proceed. So now we have the base for the maxilla and mandible. The direction is here. We need 2 points, this type measure on each tooth to define the tooth number. And if you click the number sphere, you can change it. In case of missing tooth and wisdom tooth, you can set the numbers of your choice. You can see that the area of each tooth has been defined. Depending on the condition, 3D file or 3D scan, depending on the quality of the scan, you will get the definition fully or in a good way as well. Now you can see that each tooth has been defined as we planned. And you will see the green arrow and the blue arrow. So green arrow represents the facing direction of the tooth, as you can see here. And the blue arrow represents the root direction of the tooth. And you will see the red spear here, which will define the center of rotation when you do your digital setup. So when we want to apply the torque, this will be the center of rotation. And you will see the red spear here, which will define the center of rotation when you do your digital setup. So if you click each tooth, you will see the top view from the side and from the facing direction of the tooth. But if it's a simple case, you can just skip to segmentation directly to skip this part. Now you can finalize your segmentation. And if you're happy with it, you can click OK to save it. And when you set these points, it's best to put it on the tip of the tooth. So like this one, I'll put it here. And we can move on to the axis. And so as you can see, AutoLine automatically corrects if it's in fairly simple shape. To finish. So now we have the maxilla and mandible ready. And you can click model analysis here.
Okay.
To print
That's
report.
analysis of Bolton, right? Okay.
Yes. And now we can move on to the 3D setup. And finally, we'll be able to move individual tooth as you desire. And click new setup. And as you can see, we can put a setup name. So you can have multiple cases with one 3D file. So in case you want, let's say you want to have IPR case and you want to test out the extraction case in case there isn't enough space. So you can also do that. And first, we'll have to set the ideal occlusion plane for your final setup. And arch is the same. So we want to set the ideal arch. And normally we would match the maxilla. We want it more wider because it's a bit crowded. And we can finally move to setup to move them. So controlling of the screen, you can double click each screen to make it bigger. And if you click a tooth, you will see these handles and you'll be able to move as you desire. So you can rotate, you can measurize, distalize, intrusion and protrusion. I mean, retention and protrusion. And if we change the view, you can change the tipping. Move it with the minimal value, or you can just input the value that you want to rotate them as you desire. You can start with your digital planning, but first, let me show you the staging function of the software. So normally we would want to expand since it's really crowded. So there's reason why we have to expand these arch is that it does not have enough space for these teeth to rotate. And of course, it seems that we might require a lot of IPR, or in extreme cases, extraction of the tooth. And so simply, you just do this. And we have auto function. So you just match the arch. And as you can see, the red number, it means that these two teeth are overlapped by nearly 2 millimeters. And we have auto functions to distalize everything. So if you click auto push, everything gets pushed away. Button here, and if you can deactivate it. And now, since I fixed these two, now you can see the overlap amount is about 0.4 millimeter, 0.36 millimeter. So the IPR is enough, but for this side, you need to create space about 2.72 millimeters. So it's quite a lot. So with this, doctors can define or estimate how much space is required. And then he or she can now decide to apply IPR or in extreme cases, extraction of the tooth.
Okay.
So I just displayed a tip of how to use auto push function to calculate or estimate the amount of space required for the crowded case. So I think extraction is the most easy way to get through this, but
Okay.
so first, to create some space, I would expand everything.
Okay.
So this is a just example of the expansion. So it won't be clinical in a sense. So I'm exaggerating the movement for the simpler explanation.
También no puede hacerlo, pero está mostrando cómo puede expandir y hacer. Okay.
So from the initial to layer 1 to expand to create some space.
Okay.
And if you click add, now we will add layer 2, which copies the layer 1. So normally we would expand if it's required for the rotation. So normally we don't get that much of the spacing cases. So normally we'll do the expansion, then rotation, then leveling, and retract to finish the case.
Okay.
So, but I think the expansion is quite essential for clear aligners because it gives the enough space to rotate or move as freely as it can.
Pues lo primero que hace siempre es nivelación y luego la alineación. Entonces, ya lo hicieron la nivelación.
To check the occlusion in front, a bit of tipping change. And you can turn off the maxilla and mandible.
Ujú.
This, and let's check the level. Tipping.
Okay.
Oops. And let's bring up the maxilla, okay?
I have a question. We have a question here.
Uh-huh.
If already
You can go back to layer 2 and make some changes. And if you reset layer 3, it will copy the changed layer 2 again.
Okay. Dice que si podemos, como hemos dividido por layers, entonces si algo no nos gustó, okay, perfect.
So it will be quite easy for you to control the spacing of 2
Okay,
with this
okay.
function.
Con este botón se puede hacer un autocontacto y no estar moviendo uno por uno y le hace automáticamente.
So it means that in the digital, they're collided with each other and they're overlapped. So we
Okay.
need to remove the amount. And if you right click, you can apply virtual IPR as well. So you can either choose measure or distal.
Ok, es para aplicar el IPR, la reducción interproximal, así se llama, ¿sí? Y reducción interproximal mesial o distal, ¿ok?
To place the IPR. And if you click OK,
Okay.
and also you can change the thickness
está el
of your
grosor.
IPR
Okay,
and fine tune is the angle,
okay,
which isn't really necessary.
okay.
And if I apply it like this,
Okay.
you can see that these, sorry, it went down.
Oh no.
No, so the report will be in PDF format. You can check out the basic informations, and this is where it gets important.
Okay.
Since we have 4 layers of setup, we see the from initial to layer 1. And if you check under the IPR information, you can see the amount of IPR applied to the patient. So it means that when we give out the appliances of layer 1, so clear liners from the layer 1, we need to apply these IPR value on the patient, on actual patient. So doctors can use this report to when to apply IPR on their patient.
Okay.
So this is for the mandible.
Okay.
And as you can see, from layer 3 to 4, when we are moving from layer 3 to 4, these amount of IPR is required on the patient. So it's best to track this report when we change the layers of the aligners. So staging of the aligners. So it's really important for doctors to follow this report. So if you click animation, it will animate from layer 1 to 4, from initial to layer 4.
Okay.
So you can view it like this. Save it, and also that. And it will save from here to here.
Okay.
Any calculation like this?
No, the file, how can we view the file? If I'm a patient, what kind of file do I have to open to see this?
So when you save it, it will be on the AVI format, but it will be changed to the MP4 format in the next version. And then now we will give each layer in steps. So we'll go to Modeler tab. And create steps. So you can divide this screen into 3 sections. It looks complicated, but it's really easy. So in the first section, you will see the total movement in layer 1 of each individual movement. And in second, it will display how much you want to move in one step.
Okay.
And in all steps, which is the total amount of step numbers, is 3 degrees. Layer 1, which is the biggest amount of the rotational value. Linearize and buckleize about 1.1. Since this is an expansion case, so let's consider this as 1.2. And
Okay.
if we divide that by 0.2, it leads to 6 steps. So if we increase it, step number will decrease, or simply you can type in 3. So if we type in 4, one step movement is automatically calculated based on the step number and the total deviation. So we provide the soft and hard aligners, but that really depends on the doctor's preferences. So if I type in 4 and 4, we'll create 4 steps for the maxilla and mandible. So from here, for the maxilla, you can see that I have 4 steps. And for the mandible, I have 4 steps as well. And you have to set each layer's step numbers. So I have done, our technician has done it all. And once it's done, you can click show all steps to summarize your step numbers. So you can track down the layers and the aligner numbers with it and their movements as well. And of course, we can do the attachments as well. So I have already put some. So let me remove them all first. So you can click add attachment. And this is our library of attachments. So you can, there's From here, you can select whatever shape you want
Okay.
and place it on a tube.
Uh-huh.
And I will send you the library for the movement options.
Okay.
And you can change the size of it as well. And if you click OK, so since we have placed attachments in layer 1,
Okay.
you will see them throughout all the layers. And if I add an attachment in layer 3, which you will not see in layer 1 and 2. So you can also stage your attachments in this way. And let me show you the labels. You can, so I have chosen the layer 4, but if you place it on any layer, it will be automatically applied.
Okay. Pues se pueden poner en todos o nada más poner en
So
el.
let me delete them. Okay. So there's a number and the text.
Okay.
So if you click number, you can put some text, or normally we will input nothing. So if you input nothing, the numbers will display only like this.
Okay.
And if you place the text before that, you will, if I put MIN, you will see MIN 14. So, so normally we would utilize the numbers only, and we'll place them on the molars to define the clear liner numbers.
Okay.
I'll just put them like this. And for the text, let's put my name and place it here. And if I click OK, you will see the attachments, I mean the labels. And even if I move to layer 1 to 3, you will see the aligner numbers changing. And my name on it as well.
Okay.
So now files are ready to print for clear liner production.
Okay.
So we export the files.
Okay.
And as I told you, you can export it as it is, and there's a base cutting option.
Let's see the base cutting.
So it's fairly simple. You just have to move up and down this plane
Okay.
to cut the base.
Okay.
For the mandible. So if I cut it like that, let's save it. So as you can see, we have cut it the base. And we can see the number 1 here. Height. And for the mandible, we have the file as well. So now you can import this file on your 3D printer, print it to create your clear liners. So that's the basics of the software.